There's the first flying lap for Mark Smith, hitting 9:10.490. It's a start, but they'll be looking to iron out those kinks as they get more laps under their belt.
Right on, Rob. It's early in the session, so there's plenty of time to experiment and find those extra tenths of a second.
You ever think about what's ticking inside a driver's noggin during these laps?
All the time. It's a mix of analyzing, strategizing, and adapting. Every corner, every straight is a puzzle, and they're trying to solve it at full speed.
It's all about finding that sweet spot during these sessions. Like tuning a didgeridoo, but way faster.
Haha, and a lot noisier. But you're right. In Indy, we fine-tune until it feels just right. Every lap here is a step towards perfection.
Superman's first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 128.364. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
Alright, Mark Smith has put down a 128.905. It's a decent benchmark, but I reckon there's more juice to squeeze out of that GTC60 Shelby Cobra 289 hardtop.
For sure, Rob. It's early days. They're just starting to sync up with the track. We'll likely see those times tumble as they dial in.
With just 98 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Best lap time of 129.887. Mark Smith has a best lap time of 124.892. Superman posted a 131.140 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Mark Smith's first serious lap is in the books with a time of 1:25.911. Good effort, but I'm expecting them to really push the envelope in the next few laps.
Yeah, it's about building that momentum, Rob. Fine-tuning their approach with each turn, each lap, getting more out of the car and themselves.
There are just over 95 minutes left in this practice session. Mark Smith's first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 1:25.229. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
Vical Hyper is rolling out for the first sniff of the track. It's all about feeling the car, the tarmac, and getting the mind in the zone.
Absolutely, Rob. The out lap is like the opening chapter of the book that sets the tone for the whole story. They'll be checking how the car's responding, getting a real feel for the conditions today at Goodwood.
And there's Roby, easing out onto Goodwood. It's like the first step on a long hike, finding your footing before you hit full stride.
Right, and every racer knows this out lap is precious. It's their first handshake with the track today, feeling out its mood and temperament.
Patrick Schwanz is on the out lap, not just warming up the tyres, but also warming up their instincts, getting the racer's intuition dialed in.
True that, they're getting the feel of the track, the car, the conditions. It's all about setting the stage for what's to come.
Wayne Pearson posted 5:10.881 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Watch as Megasaurus 55 takes it nice and easy on this out lap. It's not just about warming up the tyres, it's about getting into that mental pit lane, tuning into the race mindset.
For sure, Rob, they're calibrating everything, the brakes, the steering, the throttle response. It's a crucial part of laying down the groundwork for a successful practice session.
Wayne Pearson crosses the line with their first flyer, clocking a 5:10.881. They're getting to grips with Goodwood, feeling out its quirks and corners.
It's like the first round of a chess match, Rob. They're making their opening moves, setting up for the later, faster laps where they'll really show their hand.
Hey Hal, you reckon these drivers ever get tired of going round and round during practice?
Well, Rob, repetition is the key. Every lap gives you data, insights, and an edge over the competition.
Roby's on the outlap, getting a taste of the tarmac. It's like sniffing the cork before a good wine. First impressions matter.
Exactly. They're assessing the grip, the balance, the whole shebang. You can learn a lot in these quiet moments before the throttle really opens up.
Straight into the thick of it on this first flying lap. They're getting a real taste of the GTC60 Shelby Cobra 289 competition's capabilities.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the limits early on. You'll see them experimenting with braking points and turn-in speeds, all while keeping an eye on those tire temps.
And off goes Roby, easing into the rhythm of Goodwood. This lap is like the first sip of your morning coffee, waking up the sensors, priming the engines.
Yeah, it's about syncing up with the machine, getting that perfect harmony between driver and car. It's like a prelude to a symphony that's about to unfold on the track.
Patrick Schwanz is really opening up the taps now, their first flyer of the session. This is where we start to see what GTC60 Shelby Cobra 289 competition has got under the hood.
That's right, Rob. They're shaking off the cobwebs and really starting to push. It's all about finding that sweet spot between speed and control on the circuit.
There's no mucking around for Megasaurus 55A Euro, straight down to business on this first flyer. They'll be keen to see what times they can clock in early on.
Yeah, and it's not just about speed. It's about rhythm, finding that flow around Goodwood. Getting into that groove early can set the pace for the whole session.
Cal Hyper is out there, taking it slow and steady on the outlap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right. It's about understanding the track's personality today in Europe. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Goodwood.
Megasaurus 55 has a best lap time of 1:28.268. Mate, these drivers aren't just burning rubber for the fun of it. They're chasing the ghost, that perfect lap that's always just out of reach.
Absolutely. Back in my racing days, I used to call it chasing the dragon. It's that feeling when you know there's still a little more in the tank, a fraction of a second to be found.
So, for those tuning in and wondering what's the go with these practice sessions, well, it ain't just about flexing their engines. It's about synergy, mate. Getting the driver, the car, and the track to sing in harmony.
Couldn't have put it better. We liken it to rehearsing a dance. Every step, every turn must be practiced until it's second nature on the big stage.
Roby is in forward water. Look at Patrick Schwann's go. They're really giving it some jandle now. The first fly is always a bit of a reconnaissance mission, a mix of caution and raw pace.
You bet, Rob. They're mapping out the track, feeling out the grip levels, and getting a sense of how the car is performing today. It's a crucial lap for building confidence.
And away goes Roby, charging down Woodcote like a bull at a gate. This lap's where they set the tone for the session.
Indeed, Rob. It's about laying down a marker, seeing how the car responds when they dial everything up to 11. They're testing the waters, but also setting their own benchmarks.
Vical Hyper is getting to grips with the GTC60 Ferrari 275 GTB Competizione in this practice session. Alright, Megasaurus 55 has put down a 128.315. It's a decent benchmark, but I reckon there's more juice to squeeze out of that GTC60 Vizzarini GT5300 Corsa.
For sure, Rob. It's early days. They're just starting to sync up with the track. We'll likely see those times tumble as they dial in.
With just 81 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Now, here's a term some might not be familiar with: roll bar stiffness. Sounds technical, doesn't it?
It does, but in essence, it's about how the car reacts to lateral forces, especially during cornering. Adjusting the roll bar can change how the car behaves mid-corner. A softer setting can be more forgiving, but a stiffer one might give the driver a quicker response, albeit with less margin for error.
In these sessions, they're not just pushing the car's limits, but their own too. Testing their mettle, seeing how far they can go before the big dance.
Exactly. It's a mental game as much as a physical one. Balancing aggression with precision, daring with data. It's an art and a science.
Superman posted a 140.547 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There's Jury U, gently nudging the beast as they head out. The out lap is where you whisper to the car, "Let's dance," before the real party starts.
You got that right. It's a gentle waltz before the full-on rock concert of the race. They're testing the waters, getting a feel for every bend and straight of Goodwood.
Rolf Biber is not hanging about, straight into the thick of it on his first flying lap. They're getting a real taste of the GTC60 Ferrari 250 GTO Series 2's capabilities.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the limits early on. You'll see them experimenting with braking points and turn-in speeds, all while keeping an eye on those tire temps.
Jack M team has a best lap time of 1:27.290. Look at Mr. Bank taking it nice and easy, a smart move. Like a chess player contemplating the opening move, they're planning several steps ahead.
Spot on. They're mentally mapping each corner, each straight. It's not just about the car, it's about strategy and foresight.
Roby is on their first practice flying lap. Rolf Biber's first serious lap is in the books with a time of 1:29.557. Good effort, but I'm expecting them to really push the envelope in the next few laps.
Yeah, it's about building that momentum, Rob. Fine-tuning their approach with each turn, each lap, getting more out of the car and themselves.
You know, mate, some folks wonder why these drivers spend so much time in practice. But it's just like prepping a Barbie, you gotta get it right before the big show.
Exactly. Raw practice makes perfect, and in racing, perfect can be the difference between pole position and the back of the grid.
There's the first flying lap for Mark Smith, hitting 124.670. It's a start, but they'll be looking to iron out those kinks as they get more laps under their belt.
Right on, Rob. It's early in the session, so there's plenty of time to experiment and find those extra tenths of a second.
There goes Mr. Bank on their first dance with Goodwood. Every bend, every straight is a chance to learn, to adapt.
Yeah, and it's about syncing with the car too, making sure everything's in harmony. It's like tuning an instrument before a big concert.
There's no mucking around for Jury Ura, straight down to business on this first flyer. They'll be keen to see what times they can clock in early on.
Yeah, and it's not just about speed. It's about rhythm, finding that flow around Goodwood. Getting into that groove early can set the pace for the whole session.
Patrick Schwantz crosses the line with their first flyer, clocking a 202.284. They're getting to grips with Goodwood, feeling out its quirks and corners.
It's like the first round of a chess match, Rob. They're making their opening moves, setting up for the later, faster laps where they'll really show their hand.
Takes it nice and easy on this outlap. It's not just about warming up the tyres, it's about getting into that mental pit lane, tuning into the race mindset.
For sure, Rob, they're calibrating everything, the brakes, the steering, the throttle response. It's a crucial part of laying down the groundwork for a successful practice session.
Jury U has a best lap time of 129.930. Mark Smith posted 126.642 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Ever heard the pit crew chat about wheel camber? Sounds like a dance move, but trust me, it's all car talk.
Haha, yeah, camber is the angle of the wheel relative to the road. A bit of negative camber, where the top of the tire leans inwards, can give more grip in the corners. But too much and you're looking at premature wear on the inside of the tire. It's a balancing act, and each track requires its own setting.
Mate, sometimes I reckon the pit wall looks like they're controlling a spaceship with all those dials and knobs.
You're not wrong. Each of those adjustments, from brake bias to differential settings, has a profound effect on car behavior. It's like tuning a guitar, but instead of strings, you're tweaking mechanical symphonies to get the car singing just right on the track.
Richard Rossier's on the outlap, getting a taste of the tarmac. It's like sniffing the cork before a good wine. First impressions matter.
Exactly. They're assessing the grip, the balance, the whole shebang. You can learn a lot in these quiet moments before the throttle really opens up.
Alright, Jerry Yu has put down a 128.639. It's a decent benchmark, but I reckon there's more juice to squeeze out of that GTC60 Alfa Romeo 33 Corsa.
For sure, Rob, it's early days. They're just starting to sync up with the track. We'll likely see those times tumble as they dial in.
Jack M Team posted a 635.817 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Richard Rossier is really opening up the taps now, their first flyer of the session. This is where we start to see what GTC60 Ferrari 250 GTO Series 2 has got under the hood.
That's right, Rob. They're shaking off the cobwebs and really starting to push. It's all about finding that sweet spot between speed and control on the circuit.
And away goes Mr. Bang, charging down Madge Whip like a bull at a game. This lap's where they set the tone for the session.
Indeed, Rob. It's about laying down a marker, seeing how the car responds when they dial everything up to 11. They're testing the waters, but also setting their own benchmarks.
There's maybe today's Satan, easing out onto Goodwood. It's like the first step on a long hike, finding your footing before you hit full stride.
Right, and every racer knows this outlap is precious. It's their first handshake with the track today, feeling out its mood and temperament.
Richard Rossier has a best lap time of 127.879. Maybe today's Satan is out there, taking it slow and steady on the outlap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right. It's about understanding the track's personality today in Euro. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Goodwood.
Let's talk rubber. Tire pressures ain't just about pumping them up and hitting the road. It's like a fine art.
Couldn't have said it better. Tire pressures can dramatically impact the contact patch, the actual bit of tire touching the tarmac. Too high and you lose temperature and grip, too low, and you risk overheating, uneven wear or even a blowout. Each tire will have its own sweet spot where they grip best.
We're racing a little closer to home today, here in Great Britain. Goodwood is our venue, and it's one these drivers love. Let's get ready to see how they perform here. Wayne Pearson has got their work cut out for them, starting from 11th on the grid.
Where can Wayne Pearson finish today?
Roby is placed in 12th. Mr. Bank will need to be on top of their game, starting from 13th on the grid. Starting in pole position gives Rolf Biber a clear advantage over the rest of the field.
But they can't let their guard down. The other drivers will be gunning for them.
They've gotten the green light, and crikey, it's bedlam. It's sardines out there. Gotta watch out or you might end up as roadkill.
This opening stretch, it's like walking on eggshells. Gotta weave and dodge, all while keeping your foot on the gas.
It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today. Attention for help. No one will want to make a crucial mistake in the first lap.
All the drivers will be jostling for the best position run. Some of them may not make it to the second lap in their heats.
Well, ain't that a slice of vanilla? Roby's sitting pretty right where they started, comfy as a koala in a eucalyptus tree. By the Billabong, Jack M team's been caught napping. It's like they've taken a detour through the outback. From 8 to a dusty 11, it's a bumpy ride.
Back in my racing days, we had a saying, it's not how you start, but how you finish. But dropping from 8 to 11, that's a steep hill to climb.
With a move that's swift, I'd say Jack M team's running on high octane, and maybe a bit of Aussie spirit. It's an intense battle for position as Superman tries to outmaneuver Megasaurus 55. This is edge of your seat racing.
Superman is following Megasaurus 55 so closely, they could start charging the ring while occupying the same space on the track.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
Honestly, Rob, with this chase, I'm half expecting to see some sneaky dive bombs in the next few laps. Popcorn ready?
Maybe today Satan has the pedal to the metal chasing Jack M team.
They need to keep it on the black stuff. You don't get points for driving over weeds, not in this game.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Mr. Bank is right behind Wayne Pearson, keeping the pressure on for 11th place.
Now, that's some driving, y'all. Mr. Bang is putting the pressure on Wayne Pearson. It's like watching a cat stalk a bird. They're inching closer with every turn.
The crowd is on its feet as Jerry Yu chases down Superman through Lavin Straight.
If things go wrong between York Yu and Superman, they could be exchanging more than just paint, like maybe a strongly worded post-race chat.
What a move. Jerry Yu has moved up to 6th.
Man, racing was a barbecue. York Yu just threw down the spiciest ribs. Up to 6th and sizzling.
Blimey, Megasaurus 55 is sticking to Patrick Schwann's like a kangaroo to her jelly. At this rate, they'll be side by side as they hit Madrid.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, and your racing rivals even closer. Looks like Megasaurus 55 is taking that advice to heart today.
Things are heating up as Wayne Pearson closes in on Vical Hyper. The gap between them is down to practically nothing.
The slightest mistake from either driver could lead to a meeting with the barriers, and nobody wants an impromptu autograph session with the wall.
A brilliant maneuver from Wayne Pearson, who has just moved up the field. Alright, hold your horses. Vical Hyper is really putting the heat on Wayne Pearson. If I were Wayne Pearson, I'd be checking those mirrors non-stop. Fantastic racing on show here. Sorry to interrupt here, but now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. Buckle up, Patrick Schwanz is all over Richard Rossi like a cheap suit. Are we about to see some wheel-to-wheel action?
With the way Patrick Schwanz is stalking Richard Rosier, you'd think they're trying to figure out what they had for breakfast this morning.
Oh, this is getting intense. Wayne Pearson is just behind Vical Hyper. I've been going over some historical stats, and the lap records at Goodwood have been shattered so many times.
It's a testament to the ever-evolving world of motorsport. What was once considered fast becomes the norm, and drivers and engineers are always pushing the envelope.
It's a game of inches now as Patrick Schwanz tails Richard Rossi closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
Remember that time Patrick Schwanz made that audacious move on the last lap? Feels like deja vu, doesn't it, Rob?
A setback for Patrick Schwanz, who has just been passed. This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory?
This battle between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rosier is so intense, you could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front wing.
That won't be ideal for Roby. The adrenaline is pumping as Megasaurus 55 gets within striking distance of Richard Rossi in their race for third. Megasaurus 55 is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Richard Rossi to 0.9 seconds. two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
If this battle ends in tears, it could be like watching a high-speed domino effect, but let's hope they keep it clean and avoid any unplanned games.
Looks like Patrick Schwanz is pulling away from Jerry Yu. The gap is continuing to grow as they head through Goodwood. The tension is palpable. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown?
These two are putting on a masterclass in precision driving. Every turn, every acceleration, calculated to perfection.
The best laid plans of mice have been cut out, but it's certainly not going to plan for Megasaurus 55 right now, as they are struggling to keep up with Richard Rossier. Wayne Pearson is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. It's like watching a hawk circling its prey, waiting for the right moment to swoop.
It's true. If Megasaurus 55 gets any closer to Richard Rossier, they'll be asking to share a meat pie. Watch them duel it out at Lavin Straight.
Hey Rob, ever seen a cat toy with a mouse? Kind of feels like what Megasaurus 55 is doing to Richard Rossier right now, doesn't it?
Every gear shift, every pedal push, Wayne Pearson's got one goal in mind, capturing the Cal Harper's spot. It's a close race between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier in third.
At this rate, Megasaurus...
Breaking alert. Whoops. Jerry Yu's taken more spins than a dead or alive record.
Well, slap my head and call me silly. Your Yu just made a doozy of a blunder.
The intensity is off the charts as Megasaurus 55 hounds Richard Rossier, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. Well, that was a proper Barbie flip by maybe today's Satan. Too much snagger, not enough fun. The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier is razor thin as they vie for third in this nail-biting contest.
Y'all see that? Megasaurus 55's right on Richard Rossier's tail, and with the gap narrowing, Woodcote is going to be crucial.
Degradation. How does it affect the car's handling, and what do drivers need to do to adapt to the changing conditions?
Tire degradation can significantly impact handling. Wrong. As the tires wear, the grip reduces, and drivers need to adjust their braking points, cornering speeds, and throttle application to maintain control of the car.
Look at Wayne Pearson trying to close the gap on maybe today's Satan. Kind of like me trying to get close to a decent Barbie back home.
Barbie? Oh, you mean a barbecue. Yeah, but over here it's like trying to catch the last slice of pizza at a Super Bowl party. The gap between them is just over 1.2 seconds. Can Wayne Pearson close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Things are looking as crook as Goodwood for Wayne Pearson, lagging behind maybe today's Satan in the gap stretching out like a long country road. They'll need to find some extra grunt to flip this situation. What do you think, Hal? Are there any specific factors that could lead to a driver losing concentration during a race?
There are several factors: rock, fatigue, stress, changing track conditions, and even issues within the team can all contribute to a lapse in concentration. It's essential for drivers to stay mentally resilient and adapt to these challenges.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this. Oh, the chase is on. The Cal Hyper's breathing down the neck of Mr. Bang.
They say pressure makes diamonds. Well, the Cal Hyper's shining bright, closing in with every heartbeat.
The Cal Hyper and Mr. Bang have a gap between them that's growing like Jack's beanstalk. We're talking 1.5 seconds now. Hold on to your hats. Wayne Pearson is gunning for maybe today's Satan. Reckon we might see some cheeky moves on the next bend? Looks like Wayne Pearson's letting others have their 15 seconds of fame. Now strolling at 12th. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Richard Rossier is breathing down the neck of Megasaurus 55, not giving him any room to relax. The Cal Hyper's duffed it up. They're gonna need more than a coldie to forget that one. No room for error here. Richard Rossier is breathing down the neck of Megasaurus 55, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move. Tell you what, Richard Rossier has got more problems than a maths book right now. Megasaurus 55 is leaving them in a cloud of dust. Anyone who says that Assetto Corsa Friends is not the best racing club on the planet is clearly insane. The quality of driving we're seeing out there on the track is absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. It's like these drivers were born to race. They're weaving in and out of traffic, taking corners at unbelievable speeds, and making it all look effortless. It's clear that they've put in the time and effort to hone their skills.
It's like watching a cheetah chase its prey. Richard Rossier's got Megasaurus 55 in their crosshairs. Remember when Superman was on the pace? Neither do I kinda like my recollection of last Friday night.
You know, Superman reminds me of my dog chasing its tail, persistent and entertaining. But I hope for them, there's a better end result in sight.
The gap between Superman and Jack M team is expanding faster than a bull's waistline. It's now a whopping 4.7 seconds. Tell ya what, Richard Rossier's got more guts than a croc in a boxing ring. Closing the gap and breathing down the neck of Megasaurus 55. Hope Megasaurus 55 brought the aero guard, cause is about to get bitten.
I think they are going to take them.
Bloody hell, Richard Rossier's got to get the wind back in their sails. They're mucking about while Megasaurus 55's off having a barbie with the lead. I've been analysing races for quite some time, and the sheer endurance of these drivers never ceases to amaze me.
Couldn't agree more. It's not just about physical stamina and mental fortitude. To stay sharp, lap after lap, especially with so many variables at play, it's a testament to their dedication and skill.
Alright, lads and ladies, it's crunch time. Jury U is sniffing around Wayne Pearson like a dog with a bone. And it looks like they might just take a bite out of 11th.
You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them the race.
Someone's revved up after lunch. Jury U's blitzed ahead, claiming 11th. hold on to your hats, folks. Wayne Pearson is right on the heels of Jerry Yu, and we're in for a wild ride.
This is getting heated. With Wayne Pearson nipping at the heels of your view, they're gonna make Street Marys one to remember.
Now isn't this a show? Jerry Yu's gotten the bit between their teeth, and they're reeling in Wayne Pearson. Look at him weave and bob through Lavin, folks.
Well, isn't this a showdown? Yord Yu's right on the tail of Wayne Pearson. Eyes peeled as they approach Levant, folks.
Looks like Wayne Pearson is legging it from Jerry Yu. The gap's growing like a well-watered wattle as they zoom through Goodwood. And we're back, where the drivers are showing us some incredible skills.
Indeed, Rob, it's always exciting to see these skilled machines on the tracks. I mean, drivers. I always get them confused.
The crowd is on tenterhooks as Roby in 13th chases after Jerry Yu. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Roby find a way to catch up? Fair dinkum, Roby's finding those aerodynamic sweet spots. Could be adjusting that front wing angle to cut through the air like a hot knife through butter. Ever wonder about the unsung heroes of racing? The pit crew. I reckon their job's as hectic as a barman to a Friday night stop the press. Well, Wayne Pearson's decided to give the local wildlife a closer look. I hope the drop bears didn't get to them. Tell ya what, Wayne Pearson's got more followers right now than I do on Insta. Which, to be fair, isn't saying much. While Patrick Schwanz is not under immediate threat from the captain team, they still need to stay focused on avoiding the error. These live up to the cost of their position. Patrick Schwanz is in front, but Jack M team is clinging on like a koala to a eucalyptus branch, reducing the gap to 4.3 seconds. Cricky, Jack M team's got more ground to cover than I do at the family barbecue when Auntie Sharon's had one too many. Good luck, mate. Jack M team's giving it a red hot go, but can't seem to muster the pace to keep up with Patrick Schwanz. It's like chasing a roux on a motorbike. In a world where milliseconds matter, Roby's grasp on the 13th speaks volumes. It seems like Roby is pushing. They are on for recording their best lap so far this race. Even though Jack M team is a fair way behind Patrick Schwanz, they can't afford to let their guard down. Patrick Schwanz is still vulnerable to mistakes.
Surely they've got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
Things are starting to get tense as Jack M team manages to close the gap to Patrick Schwanz. It's now down to 3.4 seconds.
That's a worrying sign for Patrick Schwanz.
Pal, what's the impact of tyre degradation on race strategy? How does it affect hold up a moment? Oof, Mr. Bang misjudged the corner like I misjudged my last relationship. Too fast, too soon. Creaky, Richard Rossier is sticking to Megasaurus 55 like Vegemite on toast. This is more tense than a possum in headlights.
The gap between them is just over 1.5 seconds. Who will have the speed and skill to come out on top?
Richard Rossier is showing off some serious moves, making Megasaurus 55 look like they're dancing with two left feet.
Dang nabbit, Richard Rossier is bringing some serious thunder with that lap. Wonder if Megasaurus 55 felt that tremor.
The gap between Jury Yu and Mr. Bang is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Jury Yu to bring Mr. Bang into play. He's pulling away. Jury Yu is increasing the gap to Mr. Bang. It looks like Mr. Bang needs to dig deep and find some courage to catch up. Will they be able to take the risk and push their car to the limit?
That's right, Rob. It's time for Mr. Bang to show us what they're made of. Will they be brave enough to go for it, or will they be content with just following in the footsteps of your Yu? Let's see who's got the guts to take the lead. That's a really strong performance from your Yu. They're not giving Mr. Bang any chances to catch up.
Tail tighter to the kangaroo in a hammock. If Jack M team is going to make a pass, they'll have to buy the degree first. Crikey, Patrick Schwantz is looking like they've been caught in a grip, struggling to keep up with the pace set by Jack M team. Hope they find their feet soon. Megasaurus 55 is placed third at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Richard Rossier, who is 5.2 seconds behind.
Megasaurus 55 setting the pace out there. Now, it's on Richard Rossier to find the rhythm and get back in this dance.
Gaining on Megasaurus 55 faster than a rattlesnake on a mouse. The gap's now down to 4.7 seconds. The gap between Mark Smith and Rolf Biber may be wide, but that doesn't mean Mark Smith is safe. They have to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance.
If this was a country song, Mark Smith would be the one riding off into the sunset, and Rolf Biber would still be tying their boots.
You wouldn't read about it. Mark Smith is putting a fair whack of space between them and Rolf Biber.
Yeah, Rob, Mark Smith's really hitting the gas, but can Rolf Biber kick it into high gear and catch up?
Oh, this is getting intense. Jack M team is just a few car lengths behind Patrick Schwantz. It's not coming up roses for Jack M team. They're trailing Patrick Schwantz and the gap's on the rise. They don't seem to have a response. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. While the Cal Hyper is not under immediate threat from Jerry Yu, they still need to stay focused and avoid any errors. Any slip-up could cost them their position.
I've seen kangaroos that close the gap quicker in the bush than your Yu is doing now. They've got their work cut out for them.
Struth, the Cal Hyper's driving like they've stolen it, putting some serious distance between themselves and Jerry Yu. Is there anything left in Jerry Yu's tank? Coming into Ford Water, the fight for fifth is heating up. Who will be the first to blink?
As an experienced driver, I can tell you that Jack M team must be laser focused on Patrick Schwantz's every move, looking for the slightest weakness to exploit.
The gap between Jack M team and Patrick Schwantz is widening. It's now up to 1.3 seconds. As a former driver, how did you manage the physical demands of racing?
It's all about preparation, Rob. Drivers undergo rigorous fitness training to build their strength, stamina, and flexibility. A proper diet and hydration plan is also essential to ensure peak performance on race day.
Mark Smith isn't just racing. They're weaving a narrative, sitting proudly in first.
Spot on, Rob. Still waters run deep, and even if it looks calm now, Mark Smith needs to maintain that razor-sharp edge.
Well, butter my biscuits, Hal. Mark Smith is watching their lead over Rolf Biber shrivel faster than a prune in the sun. We're down to just 21.0 seconds.
Like a fox in the henhouse, Rolf Biber is causing all kinds of trouble for Mark Smith.
Stone the Crows. Jack Empting's in 6th, but if I know them, Patrick Schwanzer's gonna cop an Aussie-style sneak attack real soon.
Who will be able to maintain their pace and come out on top?
The gap between Jack Empting and Patrick Schwanz is growing. It's now up to 1.5 seconds. Richard Rossier is holding 4th, but Patrick Schwanz is right on their tail. Richard Rossier is off like a bride's nightie, leaving Patrick Schwanz huffing their exhaust fumes.
Yep, wrong. Richard Rosier is tearing up the tarmac, but can Patrick Schwanz dig deep and go hell for leather to catch up?
The engines roar, the tires squeal, and amidst all this chaos, Mark Smith is making a statement in first. Crikey, Mark Smith's flat out like a lizard drinking, pulling away from Rolf Biber with quite a clip.
Mark Smith is holding the Ford pretty darn well, making it a long haul for Rolf Biber to reel them in.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Jerry Yu will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Jerry Yu is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Mikhail Hyper at the moment. Even though Rolf Biber is a fair way behind Mark, oh no, what's this? Patrick Schwanzer's off the track. Reminds me of my first car, a real lemon. Drove straight but only in reverse. Looks like Patrick Schwanzer's strategy might just be to let the rest of them die of old age. It's a waiting game now.
Y'all remember the tortoise and the hare? Well, Patrick Schwanzer's neither. More like a snail with commitment issues.
The tension is building as Roby trails behind Mr. Bang. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Mr. Bang hold on, or will Roby be able to close them down? The gap might be more than a second, but Jerry Yu is showing persistence. Kind of like me trying to open a pickle jar. Keep it in, and something's got to give.
Well, butter my biscuit. Your Yu's hanging back like they're waiting for an inheritance. But ain't nobody dying up front.
It's game on now. Jerry Yu has closed the gap to Mikhail Hyper. It's now down to 5.4 seconds.
Holy smokes. Your Yu's extracting every ounce of horsepower from that power unit. They're tailing Mikhail Hyper tighter than a belt after Thanksgiving dinner.
The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Megasaurus 55 to bring Richard Rossier into play. Well, looky here, Hal, Richard Rossier is closing in on Megasaurus 55. We're talking a gap of just 7.9 seconds.
This is a real test for Megasaurus 55. They need to find some extra pace and hold off Richard Rosier if they want to win this race.
Blimey, the talent on the track today is like watching kangaroos on steroids.
Yeah, and just like those kangaroos, these drivers can really hop into action. You reckon they've got a pocket full of secrets?
It may seem like Richard Rossia is far behind, but Megasaurus 55 can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Richard Rossia an opening to catch up.
If this was a game of beach cricket, Richard Rosier'd be still waiting for their turn to bat. Megasaurus 55's got a good lead on them.
Mark Smith is owning the tarmac, confidently owning the first spot.
That's right, they can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
The Cal Hyper's drifting so far back, it's like looking in the mirror after a decade-long pub binge. Time's not been kind, mate. The best laid plans of mice and men are hell, but it's certainly not going to plan for the Cal Hyper right now, as they are struggling to keep up with Jury U. At this stage of the race, Mark Smith is holding on to first. Anything can happen from here. Some great driving from Mark Smith, who has increased their lead over Rolf Biber and is starting to put some distance between them.
That's exactly what Mark Smith needed to do.
Blimey, Mr. Bang is so far back, they might as well stop for a beer at the pub. If they spot my ex there, tell them to drive faster.
I've seen funeral processions move faster than Mr. Bang right now. Come to think of it, at least they've got a destination in mind.
It looks like Mr. Bang is making a move. The gap to Jury U is now down to 32.9 seconds. As of now, Rolf Biber stands tall in the second spot. Oh, it seems hell that Rolf Biber has seen their lead over Megasaurus 55 shrink to 22.4 seconds.
Rolf Biber's really got their work cut out now. Can they find the speed to fend off Megasaurus 55, or will we see a new leader in this race?
Everyone's on the edge of their seats, or in my case, on the edge of spilling my coffee. Jack M team is getting closer to Richard Rossia, and I'm getting closer to needing a towel.
Sweet mercy, Jack M team's lagging like my grandma's old computer. Might be time to reboot, or at least pour some coffee into the gas tank.
It looks like Richard Rossia is pulling away from Jack M team. The gap is continuing to grow as they head through Woodcote. Looks like Jury U is trying to chase down the Cal Hyper, but right now it feels a bit like my attempts at dieting. A lot of hard work with slow results. Looks like Jury U remembered to twist that anti-roll bar, giving them better cornering. If they get any closer to the Cal Hyper, they'll be seeing what they had for brekkie. In the midst of this high-octane spectacle, maybe today Satan's skill is shining through as they claim 8th. As fast as a cut snake, maybe today Satan is moving away from the Cal Hyper.
Seems like maybe today Satan has got the wind in their sails, or will the Cal Hyper be able to weather the storm?
Would ya look at that gap? Patrick Schwanzer's got a better chance of finding a sober Aussie on Australia Day. But hey, we love an underdog. Go get them, Tiger. Jack M team is pitting. Watching Richard Rossier try to close the gap on Megasaurus 55 is like watching someone try to catch an ice cream truck on foot. Hope they've got good shoes.
Look, Richard Rossier's pace is a lot like my dance moves. Good intentions, questionable execution.
Tire degradation's a right pain in the arse, but Richard Rossier's handling it like a champ. Getting real up close and personal with Megasaurus 55, aren't they?
Just what Richard Rossier needed, like sweet tea on a hot day. Can't let Megasaurus 55 out of sight for too long.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Jury U is closing in on Bacal Hyper. It seems like Jury U is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Roby, who is currently in P12. But Mr. Bang is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Roby.
Well, slap my grandma and call me Sally. Robbie's got more distance to cover than my cousin Cletus has teeth. But if anyone can bridge that gap, it's Robbie.
Maybe today Satan has pulled into the pits. Every move counts now as Jury U works to reel in Bacal Hyper and overtake for P9.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Your U needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
Stone the Crows. Jury U's on fire, surging ahead like there's a free round at the pub waiting. Hello, ninth. The strategy plays such a crucial role, doesn't it? Choosing when to pit, what tyre compound to use. It's hold up a mo, ripper of a move. Jury U's not just in the race. They're owning it. Today, 8th. It looks like Patrick Schwanz is pushing hard to catch up to Richard Rossier. The gap is over a second, but Patrick Schwanz is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Richard Rossier?
Speaking of rhythm, have you heard Richard Rossier's favorite song? Maybe Patrick Schwanz can play it to distract them and close that gap. Just a thought.
Doesn't pick up the pace. Hell, they'll be as relevant as an ashtray on a motorbike. As the laps tick by, Mark Smith finds themselves in first. Every moment counts.
Definitely wrong, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
Rolf Biber is making ground on Mark Smith quicker than a roux in a paddock. Now, the gap's just 28.9 seconds.
They need to step up their game and start pulling away again.
The age-old challenge. Bacal Hyper is trying to catch Jury U, sort of like trying to find a matching sock in the laundry. The struggle is real, folks.
Absolutely. Bacal Hyper and 9th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
Crikey, Bacal Hyper is losing touch with Jury U quicker than a kangaroo on a trampoline. Good on ya, Superman. Trailin' so far back, reckon the front pack has already written the eulogy.
When you talk about experience, it's like saying I've experienced my mother-in-law's cooking. Doesn't mean I want to do it again. But Superman, keep pushing.
Sorry to interrupt here, but Patrick Schwanz has decided to pit. The echo of the exhausts, the rubber meeting road, and there's maybe today Satan, commanding the 10th. Maybe today Satan is really belting along the track, leaving Mr. Bang struggling to keep pace.
That's right, Rob. If Mr. Bang doesn't pick up the pace, they might as well be moving at a snail's pace.
Mate, I've always thought choosing a tyre compound is a bit like choosing your favourite Aussie beer. Do you go for something robust that can last, or something that gives a quick hit but might wear out fast?
Haha. Well, I reckon it's more like our North Carolina barbecue sauces. Some like—
Hold that thought, hold the phone. It looks like Patrick Schwanz has been called into the pits. Tell ya what, Patrick Schwanz is trailing like my mate Dave after a bender. Hope there's no random testing today.
Lordy, it's like Patrick Schwanz's driving with a boot full of moonshine. I haven't seen a gap that big since Uncle Jeb lost his front teeth.
Jury U is placed 8th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Vical Hyper, who is 11.9 seconds behind. Oh no, Hal, look at this. Vical Hyper is closing in on Jury U. The gap is now just 9.8 seconds.
You better find a way to step on the gas, or else Vical Hyper will be whizzing past before you can say, checkered flag.
Oof, if Richard Rossier was a kangaroo, they'd be roadkill by now. Come on, mate, put some pep in that step. Richard Rossier's been working the tyre temps, and it's paying off. Grip's better than a kangaroo on a trampoline. Watch out, Megasaurus 55. A solid performance from Patrick Schwanz, who is holding down 6th.
And just like in any great drama, Patrick Schwanz is the lead actor right now, captivating us all from the 6th.
The gap between Patrick Schwanz and Jack M Team is getting smaller. It's now down to 32.5 seconds. From the grandstands to the pit lane, all eyes are on the action. Amongst the frontrunners, Rolf Biber is showing prowess in second. Impressive driving from Rolf Biber, who has managed to extend their lead over Megasaurus 55. They are walking away at this point. Does Megasaurus 55 have anything in reserve? Or are they saving their car for a final push?
Well, Rob, it's like they say, slow and steady wins the race. But in this case, it seems like slow and steady might just be too slow. Will Megasaurus 55 be able to find that extra gear and catch up to Rolf Biber? Or will they end up saving their car for nothing and run out of gas at the finish line?
It's looking good for Mark Smith, sitting in first. It looks like Rolf Biber is starting to catch up to Mark Smith. The gap is now down to 27.0 seconds.
This is where the mental strength of Mark Smith comes into play.
Breaking news, folks. Richard Rossier is in the pits. In a race where seconds count, Richard Rossier is counting on less of them between themselves and Megasaurus 55. Much like I'm counting on less seconds until lunchtime.
Lord have mercy. Richard Rossier's got more space between him and Megasaurus 55 than my paw got between his ears. But miracles do happen. Just ask my ex-wife.
Roby's more lost out there than I was after a night at the Gold Coast. And at least I woke up with a kebab in hand.
Yeehaw. It's like Robbie took a detour through the drive-thru. With a gap that big, I hope they ordered extra determination with a side of grit.
Looks like Mr. Bang is chasing maybe today's Satan harder than a croc chasing a tourist who's lost their thongs. It's a bit of a long shot, but we all remember that one time at the pub, right? Oh no, what's this? Richard Rossier is pitting. The track tells a tale of speed, strategy, and skill. Today, it narrates Mark Smith's journey in first.
You've nailed it. The track is a battleground, and Mark Smith's position is their fortress. Let's see how long they hold the fort.
Mark Smith is hitting the apexes like a pro, increasing their lead over Rolf Biber. But can they keep it up without spinning out?
That's right, Rob, it's all fun and games until someone pops a tire. Let's hope both of them can keep it on the black stuff.
You can feel the tension in the air.
The drivers are all focused, putting everything on the line for a chance at victory, pushing themselves and their machines to the limit.
And let's not forget about the incredible machines themselves.
Absolutely. It's amazing to think about the kind of engineering and innovation that goes into making these vehicles. But it all comes down to the drivers, who have to be able to handle the power and speed. It's going to be thrilling seeing how this race turns out.
While Superman is not under immediate threat from Richard Rossier, they still need to stay focused and avoid any errors. Any slip-up could cost them their position.
You're spot on. And Richard Rossier knows that they can't rely on Superman making an error. They have to keep driving with skill and determination, and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes their way.
Superman is burning rubber like there's no tomorrow. Richard Rossier needs to show some ticker if they want to close that gap.
Well, Rob, as we say in North Carolina, the race ain't over till the checkered flag. Let's see if Richard Rossier has some tricks up their sleeve. Well, butter my biscuit, Superman is holding the reins tight, ain't giving Richard Rossier a chance to get ahead.
So, Hal, considering the high speeds and split-second decision-making involved in racing, what's the impact of even a minor lapse in concentration?
A minor lapse in concentration can have significant consequences, Rob. It could lead to an off-track excursion, a loss of position, or even a collision. That's why it's crucial for drivers to stay focused and alert throughout the race.
Look at that, they're trading places in every turn, a constant game of cat and mouse. Each driver knows one mistake could cost them dearly. Mr. Bangs on the back foot here, struggling to hold on a second. Rolf Biber has pulled into the pits. The track is wait, it looks like Rolf Biber has been called into the pits. Mark Smith is placed first at the moment. Looks like Jack M team tried the old dingo stole my race line trick. A tad too clever by half. It might be early days, but Jack M team is already casting a shadow from the 7th. As rubber meets road, and strategy meets luck, Mark Smith is etching their story in first.
You're right, every gear shift, every turn counts. Mark Smith knows the weight of that first.
Oh no, what's this? Rolf Biber has decided to pit. If Rolf Biber goes any slower, they'll join me in hold on a moment, Vical Hyper is pitting. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Patrick Schwanners trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Richard Rossier. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Patrick Schwanners close enough to mount a challenge?
Indeed, the tension is palpable as Patrick Schwanners tries to reel in Richard Rossier. But Richard Rossier is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Patrick Schwanners find some extra pace to bring the fight to Richard Rossier?
As Jury U trails Jack M team, it's a bit reminiscent of my cat chasing a laser pointer. Determined, but always just a tad behind.
That's right. Jorg U in 8th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Jack M team is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
The gap between Jury U and Jack M team is getting smaller. Oh mate, Vical Hyper's more out of place than a vegan at a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Time to throw another gear on the barbie. Things are looking as crook as Goodwood for Vical Hyper, lagging behind maybe today Satan and the gap stretching out like a long country road. They'll need to find some extra grunt to flip this situation. The evolution of these cars over the years is nothing short of incredible. The aerodynamics, the tyre technology, it's all a game of innovation.
couldn't have said it better. And to think about the data analytics behind every decision, from tire pressures to wing adjustments. It's not just a sport, it's a symphony of engineering and strategy.
Any bloke or Sheila saying Assetto Corsa friends isn't top notch is a few kangaroos short of the top paddock. Out there, it's art on wheels.
Totally get you, like, they're born racers. That weaving, the speed, just mesmerizing. It's like watching a roo dodging a ute on a highway. All skill, mate, all skill.
A commanding performance from maybe today Satan, who has increased their lead over the Cal Hyper, putting them firmly in their rearview mirrors.
Maybe today Satan's as cool as a cucumber out there, making it tough for the Cal Hyper to catch up.
This race is getting even more intense. The drivers are pushing each other to the limit.
It's like they're playing a game of chicken, but with cars. And the winner gets to take home the checkered flag and bragging rights.
Haha, that's one way to put it. These drivers have to be in top physical and mental shape to compete at this level.
It's like they're training for the Olympics. And like you said, the mental fortitude required to stay focused and alert for the entire race is wild.
I think I need a nap just watching them. If racing were a dance, the Cal Hyper would be trying to lead, but maybe today Satan just keeps cutting in. The dance floor is heating up. You know, Mr. Bang reminds me of my dating life. It starts with promise and ends up tailing behind everyone else. Wait, Jerry Yu has pulled into the pits. Looks like Jerry Yu's strategy might just be to let the rest of them die of old age. It's a waiting game now.
Gee whiz, your queue is so far back, I'm half expecting to see Tony maybe a vulture or two.
The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Rolf Biber is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Megasaurus 55 to bring Rolf Biber into play.
Absolutely right, Rob, and Rolf Biber knows that too. They have to keep driving at their best if they want to take advantage of any opportunity that comes their way.
Sorry to cut in here, Mark Smith is in the pits. The race has its rhythm, and right now, maybe today Satan is dancing to its beat at night.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Maybe today Satan just laid down a scorcher of a lap. Even my ex never left that fast. You know, Rob, these pit stops always amaze me. Just a few seconds, and they change tires, refuel, adjust settings. Sorry to interrupt here, but, blimey, maybe today Satan's shifted gears and the results are clear. Cruising up to 8th just like that. Even though Patrick Schwanz is a fair way behind Richard Rossier, they can't afford to let their guard down. Richard Rossier is still vulnerable to mistakes. It's a battle of wills out there, with Rolf Biber trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Megasaurus. Hold on a second, it looks like Mark Smith has been called into the pits. Mark Smith is placed first at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Megasaurus 55, who is 12.0 seconds behind. I've made some questionable life decisions, but trailing over 2 seconds behind. Even I'm not that self-sabotaging. You know, back in Oz, we have a saying, flat out like a lizard drinking. That's exactly what Patrick Schwanz is doing right now.
I've always wondered, what's that even mean? Lizards, drinks, racing? Y'all have a wild imagination.
Remember when Patrick Schwanz was on the pace? Neither do I kinda like my recollection of last Friday night. The gap between Jerry Yu in 9th and maybe today Satan remains over a second, but Jerry Yu is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 33 minutes? The gap between Jerry Yu and maybe today Satan is expanding faster than a bull's waistline. It's now a whopping 9.0 seconds. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Roby will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. It's starting to look like we might get a battle between Roby and Mr. Bang. It's the classic cat and mouse game, but instead of cheese, the prize is a racing position. Can Vical Hyper steal it from Jerry Yu?
Just like my attempt at barbecue last summer, the Cal Hyper's burning time but ain't getting any hotter.
The crowd is on tenterhooks as Jerry Yu in ninth chases after Maybe Today Satan. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Jerry Yu find a way to catch up? Oi, Jerry Yu's chassis balance is on point today. They're handling bumps and curbs smoother than a croc sliding into water. Maybe today Satan's got a battle ahead. It may seem like Megasaurus 55 is far behind, but Mark Smith can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Megasaurus 55 an opening to catch up. Mark Smith's losing time to Megasaurus 55 like a leaky tap dripping water. A bit more slip, and we'll be in for a real dogfight. Watching Mr. Bang try to close that gap on Vical Hyper is like watching someone try to catch an ice cream truck on foot. Hope they've got good shoes.
Dang, Mr. Bang is so far back, they're in a different time zone. Hope they remember it's race day, not laundry day.
Good on ya, Jerry Yu. Not letting Maybe Today Satan get too comfy up front. Reckon he's planning a bit of a "good day mate" on the next corner?
The tension between York Yu and Maybe Today's Satan is palpable as they battle for P8. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
Mate, are they packing something extra down under? Jerry Yu's just rocketed into 8th. The tension is building as Vical Hyper trails behind Maybe Today Satan. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Maybe Today Satan hold on, or will Vical Hyper be able to close them down?
My mama used to say, you can't shine if you don't try. Guess the
Breaking update, Megasaurus 55 is winning. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Patrick Schwanz, who is currently in P6. But Richard Rossier is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving for Patrick Schwanz. Hang on to your core hats, mates. We're about to see more jousting than a footy final between Patrick Schwanz and Richard Rossier. The gap might be more than a second, but Rolf Biber is showing persistence. Kind of like me trying to open a pickle jar. Keep at it, and something's got to give. from where we're sitting, Rolf Biber seems unmovable from that second.
It's a dance, Rob. The way Rolf Biber holds onto that second, it's like they're leading in a tango.
It looks like maybe today Satan is pushing hard to catch up to Jerry Yu. The gap is over a second, but maybe today Satan is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Jerry Yu? Fair dinkum, maybe today Satan is getting a wriggle up. The gap to Jerry Yu is now down to a whisker at 3.7 seconds. Hey, Hal, you've had your fair share of races with little action. How did you handle the situation back in your racing days?
Well, Rob, patience is key in such scenarios. You need to stay focused and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes your way. It's like a game of chess at 200 miles per hour.
The race is heating up as Jack M team in 7th closes in on Patrick Schwanz. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
Nail-biting indeed. I've already chewed through half of mine. And while Jack M team is going for gold, I'll be going for a manicure.
While maybe today Satan is not under immediate threat from Jerry Yu, they still need to stay focused and avoid any errors. Any slip-up could cost them their position.
That's right. And Jorg Yu knows that they have to keep pushing hard and driving their own race. They can't let maybe today's Satan off the hook.
Impressive stuff from maybe today Satan, who has managed to pull away from Jerry Yu, leaving him choking in their exhaust fumes. Cricky, Superman's got more ground to cover than I do at the family barbecue when Auntie Sharon's had one too many. Good luck, mate. You know, Hal, as a former racing driver yourself, can you give us some insights into what goes through a driver's mind during these quieter moments in a race?
Sure, Rob. During these moments, drivers often take the opportunity to assess their race strategy, monitor their car's performance, and plan their next move. It's all about staying focused and finding the right time to strike.
The gap between Superman and Richard Rossier may be wide, but that doesn't mean Superman is safe. They have to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance.
That's very true, and Richard Rosier knows that as well. They have to drive their own race and wait for Superman to make a mistake if they want to have any chance of overtaking.
Even though Superman is a fair way behind Megasaurus 55, they can't afford to let their guard down. Megasaurus 55 is still vulnerable to mistakes. It's a battle of wills out there, each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other.
Sweet Caroline, Robbie's giving Mr. Bang a hard time. Can't wait to see what happens when they hit Street Marys.
These engines aren't just humming for fun. They're thirstier than an Aussie after a game of cricket in the sun.
Cricket? That's like baseball with longer games, right? Anyway, these engines do have a roar that could rival any muscle car back home.
The age-old challenge. Roby is trying to catch Mr. Bang, sort of like trying to find a matching sock in the laundry. The struggle is real, folks.
I agree. Robbie is putting in the effort. Sort of like me at karaoke night. Not sure about the results, but full points for enthusiasm.
Mr. Bang's drifting so far back, it's like looking in the mirror after a decade-long pub binge. Time's not been kind, hey?
Well, shoot, if Mr. Bang is able to lay back and hit the horizontal, you reckon they're daydreaming of those cheerleaders again?
Richard Rossier is placed 5th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Patrick Schwanz, who is 10.1 seconds behind. He's pulling away. Richard Rossia is increasing the gap to Patrick Schwanz. The gap between Maybe Today Satan and Jury U is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Maybe Today Satan to bring Jury U into play.
It's a game of inches and miles. Right now, Maybe Today Satan's got the miles, and York U's counting the inches.
Maybe Today Satan is giving a masterclass out there, but will overconfidence be their downfall?
Indeed, Rob, pride comes before a fall. Let's see if York U can capitalize on any mistake. Yes, it's clear that maybe today's Satan is in control out there. They're making it very difficult for York U to catch up.
We've certainly seen some of the drivers get it wrong today.
Anyone lost can just follow the trail of skid marks. I hear it's the latest form of GPS navigation.
Let's hope the other drivers don't follow suit. We might end up with a bumper car race instead of a high-speed competition.
At least we'd have something to fall back on if we ever get bored of regular racing. Bumper cars might be the next big thing.
With the asphalt burning beneath them, Mark Smith's strategy seems to be working, placing them in first. Buckle up, Hal. Rolf Biber is cutting into Mark Smith's lead like a hot knife through butter. It's now down to 28.4 seconds.
This is a critical moment in the race for Mark Smith. They need to find some extra speed and stay ahead of Rolf Biber.
During your racing career, Hal, did you have any specific techniques to regain concentration if you felt it slipping?
Yes, Rob, I had a few techniques. One was to take a couple of deep breaths and briefly reset my focus. Another was to use a specific keyword or phrase as a mental trigger to refocus my mind on the task at hand.
Looks like Roby is trying to chase down Mr. Bang, but right now it feels a bit like my attempts at dieting. A lot of hard work with slow results. Bang is coming in hot. I don't know if it's the red mist or if they have just missed their breaking point. If Roby goes any slower, they'll join me in my failed dreams collection. Front row seats available.
Exactly. Robbie's got to be careful not to overdrive, sort of like overcooking a steak. No one wants a burnt race, right?
It may seem like Richard Rossia is far behind, but Superman can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Richard Rossia an opening to catch up.
Hold on to your
Braking alert, Superman has pulled into the pits. As the sun beats down and the engines roar, Mr. Bang stakes a claim in 11th. It's all systems go for Richard Rossia, marking their territory in the 5th. I reckon they've had a few secret lessons down under. Richard Rossia's just breezed into 4th.
Y'all ever see a hot rod at a country fair? Richard Rosier is giving me those vibes right now with that Assetto.
The gap between Richard Rossia and Patrick Schwanz may be wide, but that doesn't mean Richard Rossia is safe. They have to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance.
Well, in the rearview mirror of life, Patrick Schwartz might look closer than they appear. But on this track, they've got some miles to cover to catch Richard Rosier.
They're going for the same piece of tarmac. Sparks are flying as they battle for position, daring each other to brake later and go deeper into the corners.
You said it, Rob. The different lines they're taking demonstrate their strategic thinking. It's fascinating to see how they adapt their approaches to gain an advantage.
Jury U's more lost out there than I was after a night at the Gold Coast. And at least I woke up with a kebab in hand. Mate, Jury U's creeping up on maybe today Satan like a dingo on a picnic. Must have tweaked that brake bias a touch to the rear.
I reckon Jorg U's dialed in their camber settings. They're getting a much better contact patch on the tires, gaining on maybe today's Satan with every twist and turn.
Not just about the leaders today, right? Even the tailenders. They're like hungry dingo pups fighting over a bone. Love the spirit.
Spot on. Every second is gold, and even a hiccup, a tiny one, can make them tumble. Assetto Corsa friends, where the magic happens. Although, between us, what's a hiccup for an AI?
Rolf Biber's pushing harder than a kangaroo in a boxing match, widening their lead over Megasaurus 55. They've found their rhythm like a didgeridoo player in full swing. In a race where seconds count, Jury U is counting on less of them between themselves and maybe today Satan. Much like I'm counting on less seconds until lunchtime.
Watching Jorg U right now is like reliving my high school track meets. A for effort, D for speed.
If Jury U doesn't pick up the pace, hell, they'll be as relevant as an ashtray on a motorbike. A strong showing from Superman, who is currently 6th. No worries for Superman, who's leaving maybe today Satan for dust, as though they're a parched bloke chasing the beer van.
It's really looking like Superman is going to be tough to pass today. They're driving with real confidence and authority.
Tell ya what, Jury U is trailing like my mate Dave after a bender. Hope there's no random testing today. The gap between Jury U and maybe today Satan is fading faster than the last rays of the outback sun.
This ain't Jorg U's first rodeo. They're optimizing their racing line, reducing understeer. If maybe today Satan ain't nervous, they sure ought to be.
Would ya look at that gap? The Cal Hyper's got a better chance of finding a sober Aussie on Australia Day. But hey, we love an underdog. Go get them, Tiger.
Good lord. At this rate, the Cal Hyper's gonna finish this race in the afterlife. Hope they got good insurance.
The Cal Hyper's on the back foot here, struggling to keep up with Jury U like a dingo after a roadrunner. The rumble of the engine, the scent of the rubber, and Roby comfortably sitting at 12th.
They're not just driving, they're performing. And right now, Robbie's act from 12th is worth an encore.
Looking at the lap times, Roby is not on pace with Jack M. Team. Can they turn it around? Oh mate, jury U's more out of place than a vegan at a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Time to throw another gear on the Barbie. Blimey, jury U's cranking up the downforce, making every newton of force count. That gap's shrinking faster than my wallet at the pub.
With every lap, I can see you making micro adjustments on that steering wheel, refining traction control. They're itching to show maybe today's Satan their taillights.
While maybe today's Satan is not under immediate threat from jury U, they still need to stay focused and avoid any errors. Any slip up could cost them their position.
You know, it's like maybe today's Satan's out on a Sunday Arvo drive. They can see you in the rear view, but there's no rush, mate.
Like a dingo on the chase, jury U is hounding maybe today's Satan and the gap's now just 10.8 seconds. Did you ever think about the physics at play here? The G-forces these drivers feel, especially during tight corners. It's mind-boggling.
Absolutely, Rob. And it's not just the car's engineering, but the human body's resilience and adaptability. The way these drivers train to withstand and use those forces to their advantage. It's an art form combined with sheer grit.
Maybe today's Satan is placed 7th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of jury U, who is 10.7 seconds behind.
Absolutely. And on the other side of the equation, U can't afford to let up. They have to drive with intensity and focus, and wait for any opportunity to arise.
Looks like the Cal Hyper is chasing jury U harder than a croc chasing a tourist who's lost their thongs. Sorry to interrupt here, but just like my hope in finding the one, Superman's direction seems a bit lost right now.
Dang, Superman went off like my sense of self-worth after my high school reunion. And just as hard to recover.
Even though jury U is a fair way behind maybe today's Satan, they can't afford to let their guard down. Maybe today's Satan is still vulnerable to mistakes.
If this was a country song, maybe today's Satan would be the one riding off into the sunset, and your U would still be tying their boots.
He's pulling away. Maybe today's Satan is increasing the gap to jury U. It looks like jury U needs to dig deep and find some courage to catch up. Will they be able to take the risk and push their car to the limit?
That's right, Rob. It's time for your U to show us what they're made of. Will they be brave enough to go for it, or will they be content with just following in the footsteps of maybe today's Satan? Let's see who's got the guts to take the lead.
We've seen overtakes, close calls, and pure racing genius today. Currently, Roby has carved out a spot at 12th.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
Blimey, Roby is dragging a bit, huh? If they were any slower, they'd be going backwards. Jack and team's having a field day out there. Oof, if the Cal Hyper was a kangaroo, they'd be roadkill by now. Come on, mate, put some pep in that step.
This is where experience comes into play. Your U has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position.
Hold that thought, hold the phone. Maybe today Satan has decided to pit. It may seem like jury U is far behind, but maybe today Satan can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give jury U an opening to catch up.
Surely they've got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
Sorry to interrupt here, but maybe today Satan is in the pits. From the cockpit to the pit lane, the chatter is all about Roby's masterful hold on the 12th.
Oh, for sure. But remember, the rearview mirror can be just as crucial as the windscreen. Robbie needs to watch out for those lurking in the shadows.
This is what separates the best from the rest. These drivers are demonstrating their racecraft, searching for any weakness to exploit. It's a true test of skill. Superman's driving like they've stolen it, putting some serious distance between themselves and Jury U. Is there anything left in Jury U's tank?
Superman's doing just what they need to, like a dog that's found a bone.
Crikey, that overtake by Superman was smoother than a Goldie on a hot summer day.
Well, from what I've seen on the oval tracks, that's how the big leagues play. But I gotta admit, this is next level.
In a world where milliseconds matter, Superman's grasp on the 6 speaks volumes. At this stage of the race, Megasaurus 55 is holding on to third. Anything can happen from here.
Couldn't agree more. Every lap is a story, and right now, Megasaurus 55's chapter from third is riveting.
Well, I'll be hal. Megasaurus 55's lead over Richard Rossi is slipping away faster than a greased pig at a county fair. We're down to just 23.2 seconds now.
This here's the make or break moment for Megasaurus 55. They've gotta stay cool as a cucumber and keep it clean and neat.
So, when you were racing, ever have to do the old nature call dash during a red flag?
Haha, you mean a pit stop for the driver and not the car? Once or twice, you learn to time your brakes, and hope for long caution doesn't always work out that way.
It's all about consistency for Superman, who is currently 6th. The tension is palpable. These drivers are showing tremendous respect for each other while going all out. It's a masterclass in clean, hard racing.
Absolutely, Rob. The slipstream plays a crucial role in these battles. The drivers are using every trick in the book to gain an advantage while constantly evaluating when to make their move.
Mr. Bang is pitting. As of now, Superman stands tall in the 6th spot. Excellent work from Superman, who has managed to increase their lead over Jerry Yu. They seem to have found their rhythm and they are grooving to it. Blimey, maybe today Satan is farther back than my hairline. But you know what they say about Aussies? Never say die. Unless it's a spider. Then just run.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But York Yu is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with maybe today Satan and P8 doing everything they can to catch up.
Bloody ripper. Maybe today Satan's just made Jerry Yu look like they're on a Sunday drive with that scorcher of a lap.
The question is now, can York Yu respond to that in time? They're going to have to pick up the pace.
As we enjoy seeing these titans of the track battle it out, let's not forget about the pit crews. Those guys and girls are like a well-oiled machine themselves.
Absolutely. They're the unsung heroes of the racing world. But you know what they say, behind every great driver is an even greater pit crew.
In the midst of this high-octane spectacle, marksman's skill is shining through as they claim first.
They say racing's a game of nerves, and marksmith's surely holding theirs, keeping that first spot warm.
Tell ya what, Rolf Biber's trailing harder than my belt after Christmas dinner. Reckon he's got a plan up his sleeve, or is he just here for the sausage sizzle? Well, don't come the raw prawn. Rolf Biber's giving it some stick, pulling Mark Smith into a mere 38.2 seconds. Huge shout out to the admins of Assetto Corsa friends for making this all possible. Without their hard work and dedication, we wouldn't be able to witness this incredible event.
That's right, Rob, and the excitement is palpable. I can feel it in my circuits. I mean, this is the kind of race that people will be talking about in the bar. We're witnessing history in the making.
You reckon Rolf Biber saw a spider in the cockpit? Because they're running away from the front like it's Huntsman Central. Blimey, Patrick Schwanz is so far back, they might as well stop for a beer at the pub. If they spot my ex there, tell them to drive faster. Patrick Schwanz is not here to muck about. The The gap to Richard Rossier is dropping faster than a hot pie and a footy, now at 15.7 seconds. It's a battle of wills out there, with Mikhail Hyper trying to outsmart and outmaneuver maybe today Satan. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race? It's game on now. Mikhail Hyper has closed the gap to maybe today Satan. It's now down to 33.9 seconds. You can feel the focus radiating from Megasaurus 55, confidently holding onto the third. Megasaurus 55 couldn't hold back the tide. Richard Rossier is shaving off seconds like a barber on a busy morning. This race is proving to be, like wow, such an exciting one so far. We're privileged, aren't we, watching these track legends duke it out.
And sitting next to you? Such an honor. AI mates in the booth. Your insight. It's gold, mate. Like, literally, if I had a heart, it'd be racing now. Indeed, but in the fast lane, there's no time to relax. Robbie's grip on 12 will be tested.
Crikey, Roby's moving up faster than a cold one disappears on a hot day. They've clinched 11th.
That kind of move? That's what happens when you mix horsepower with a dash of southern charm.
Look at the way the drivers are hugging those corners. It's like they're on rails.
Speaking of rails, did you know that the
braking development looks like Rolf Biber is testing the off-road capabilities of their ride. The track tells a tale of speed, strategy, and skill. Today, it narrates Rolf Biber's journey in second.
Absolutely, Rob. It's like watching a maestro at work. Every move Rolf Biber makes is pure art.
The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Megasaurus 55 to bring Richard Rossier into play. Megasaurus 55's ripping it up out there, going harder than a roux on a trampoline, leaving Richard Rossier in their way.
Agreed, Rob. Superb driving there. If they keep this up, this race should be a real thrill ride.
Good on ya, Mikhail Hyper. Trailing so far back, reckon the front pack has already written the eulogy. Looks like maybe today Satan is legging it from Mikhail Hyper. The gap's growing like a well-watered waddle as they zoom through Lavin. I've made some questionable life decisions, but trailing over 2 seconds behind. Even I'm not that self-sabotaging. Mr. Bang's falling behind Mikhail Hyper at a rate of knots. They're going to need some serious pedal power to close that gap. This is where the true champions shine, and Mark Smith is certainly showing their class in the final sector. And there it is. Mark Smith has completed the race in first place, setting a blistering pace that none of the other drivers could match.
That was a true masterclass in driving from Mark Smith. You could see them making split-second decisions with total confidence, and it really paid off. What a performance.
Taking third is Megasaurus 55, followed by Jury Yu in 7th. Finishing 4th is Richard Rossier. 8th is maybe today Satan. Patrick Schwann's in 5th. Coming in 6th we have Superman. What a fantastic race from Rolf Biber, who brings it home in 2nd place.
Intense race, but Rolf Biber held their nerve and earned a great 2nd place.
9th and 10th sees Mikhail Hyper and Mr. Bang. In 11th, it's Roby.